What's up, COD fans? Welcome back to the playoff picture, this time dealing with the Chicago Huntsmen, a team that I think at the beginning of the year had the most generated hype about them. Not only is this Hex's organization, not only does it have former world champions, including the most recent year, but I would say almost more importantly, you had T2P coming back, and the hype around Scump and Formal playing together could not have been higher. And they did not necessarily do it a disservice. Starting off the first two weekends, picture perfect. They find themselves winning both matchups they had in Minnesota, playing both Dallas and Optic Gaming LA for the battle of new versus old Optic. But then you also have your first home series champion in the form of the Chicago Huntsmen after they won at London. There would quickly be a little bit of a flaw in that perfect gemstone, though, as very, very early on in the season, we would get rumors and an eventual swap of Gunless being benched in favor of Pristini, coming from the Florida Mutineers to join his twin brother Arcitys. This was a change that I think kind of spurred a lot of questions, mostly because the team was doing good. And I'll save most of that conversation because I had a chance to sit down and talk with Arcitys about that specific moment in the history of the Chicago Huntsmen. Before we go too far into that conversation, I want to give you guys a brief look as far as what the Chicago Huntsmen have been able to do this year. This is the best hardpoint team in the CDL. Ranked number one by win percentage overall, they hold a 66% win rate, 34 and 17 in total over the hard point at a plus 8-point differential. Now, I'll say statistically by win percentage, they're the best CDL team, but by point differential, they are not necessarily the best. So it really kind of just goes to show that when they win, they're typically not winning in blowout fashion, but when they lose, they're also not necessarily losing in blowout fashion. This is also the third best search and destroy team and the third best domination team statistically. Those are all good things for Chicago. And after they put together what you thought was going to be a very strong end of the season, they go into a very pivotal home series at the Toronto homestand in which almost every single one of the top 5 teams would be there. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is a true prelude to what playoffs is going to look like. And for the Chicago Huntsmen not making the playoff as they lost to both the Toronto Ultra and the Optic Gaming Los Angeles team, I think threw a lot of concern up in the air. And say what you will, I mean, Pristini lags out of that map 4 versus the Toronto Ultra. They don't really get a true chance to get that second hardpoint online, and their search and destroy was solid throughout the entirety of the weekend, but there were still some holes and gaps that definitely left some question marks as far as what should we expect about the Chicago Huntsmen, who now go into the playoffs as the number 4 seed, in which they would play up against the winner of New York or Minnesota and would eventually have to go through the Atlanta phase. Not exactly the opponent you want to run into, but that's not bad news for Chicago, considering that we've only seen them play the Atlanta phase once, and when they did, they blew them out. It was a 3-0 sweep. So, will that continue to be the trend moving into playoffs? You can't really feel like that's going to be 100% the case, but I had a chance to ask some of the pivotal questions about the Chicago Huntsmen to Arcitys, who joined me for an interview. Joining me now is Arcitys from the Chicago Huntsmen. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for taking the time to jump on the show with me.
Yeah, no problem. Just got finished with scrim, so I had a free time, so here we are.
Here we are. I want to go all the way back towards the beginning of the season to kind of ask you a few questions, because I know that there were a couple of conversations that were spurred when the change of your brother Pristini for Gunless ended up happening. But one point that I feel like wasn't really talked about a lot was what initially caused it in the first place, because at that point you guys were actually rolling. You only dropped 3 different series, all of which were relatively close losses. So could you explain a bit more onto why that change occurred in the first place?
So us getting rid of Pierce.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was obviously like, again, like I'm just gonna have to say this, like we all like, I'm pretty sure it's 5. Like even Troy said, like if this year was played on land, I don't think we would split up. But just I think just frustrations of online, just I just don't think like our team was like online ready. And it's just like the vibes weren't there. Like all of us just had those days where like we would get on and just not try, and it was the worst. Like all of like after we lost that event, got 3-0'd by, I'm pretty sure we got 3-0'd in like 10 minutes. Like I'm not even trolling. And
Oh, the
I
one
told my
versus
team,
Dallas?
yeah, I actually like, I don't know if Huntsman will ever release a video of us talking, but I had a breakdown. I said I said to all of them, I was like, dude, do any of you guys think we're getting better in scrims? No one said yes. So I was like, I said, so we're either gonna like, we have to do something, because if none of us think we're getting better and we just got 3-0 in 10 minutes, it's like, this is pointless. Like we could all be getting like we all could be fucking playing better. Like us five as a unit shouldn't ever lose a 3-0. I don't care if it's online or LAN. Like, and our scrims weren't going as well. Like me and Matt were switching roles. We had me running an AR, him running a sub, which Matt should never have a sub in his hand. Like he's really good with AR, but he's okay with a sub. He's not like flashy or anything, but that's pretty much it. Like we all just had a breakdown after that loss. It was bad. Like you could tell like we just weren't playing to get better. That's what it felt like. We were just playing to play.
Fair enough.
And I think all of them could agree on that.
Yeah, so a lot of behind the scenes things more than what we saw on the scoreboards. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that a lot of people may have been lost on.
There's nothing wrong. Like Pierce was it was just a vibes thing. Pierce is a good teammate. Like he's a great player. Like obviously he'll tell you like he shouldn't be putting up stats like that. He knows that, but it had nothing to do with stats. I don't think like I'd ever drop a professional player for stats because like you know what you're getting out. When you pick someone up, you know how they're gonna play.
Yeah.
And if they don't play like that, you guys are obviously like making him feel uncomfortable, and he doesn't want to do something. So I know what I'm getting out of every pro player.
Fair enough. Consistency, though, really throughout the entirety of the season, either with Gunless or even after, was actually really a good strong point for you guys all season long. You end this season as the best team overall statistically in Hardpoint and the third best team in both Search and Destroy and Domination. And really outside of a couple of losses to Florida, you guys have gotten the better of every single team of the CDL. So can you speak to really why you guys were so damn consistent even when things moved online?
I mean, just look at the roster. I mean, I tell these guys every day, like, even in scrims, like we shouldn't be losing. Like, we shouldn't be getting 7-0 in scrims. We shouldn't be even to like FaZe. We should be splitting maps with them. Dallas, we should be splitting maps with them. I don't care what Call of Duty it is. These five players on a team, my team. This might sound egotistical, but like we shouldn't lose.
Yeah.
And
no, you're right.
It just like. You could see it like in that FaZe series, we 3-0'd them instantly. Like it was a pretty fast series. I think that's like the fastest series they ever lost in. And so we just gotta like keep that consistent and just show every team that kind of respect to FaZe that we show to FaZe. To every other team. And I think like we just clean up on some S&D and domination, and we should be good.
Do you think a lot of that experience that you guys had built in just because of the names that were on the roster led to like that instant trust factor, that instant synergy that takes a couple of teams maybe longer in the year to develop? Teams like I think Toronto had that problem, LAG had that problem, but that never seemed to be much of a problem for you guys. Do you think that is kind of attributed to the fact that it is such an elite roster from the get-go?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, like when you hop on in a call with Matt or Seth, like you're like, damn, these are some of the best players in the game. Like you gotta trust them. Like
yeah.
You gotta trust what they want to do, and like you gotta let them fly. And I think that's what it is. Like we all just like get on and just like we trust each other. That's pretty much it. Like it's so hard not to trust each other because me and Preston obviously just got done back to back last year.
Yeah,
Dylan, one of the best subs last year. Then you got Matt and Seth. Just they're nasty.
Yeah. So finishing off the regular season, obviously Toronto wasn't exactly the success story that the team had in mind, especially with the potential of getting the #1 seed if you guys were to have won that tournament in whole. But losing to Toronto and Optic Gaming LA, missing the playoff, were there any kind of takeaways from that weekend? Like, hey, like we actually do need to go back and relook at this, or where were the biggest holes as far as like why that weekend kind of ended up the way that it did?
Domination. Our domination that event, like the last couple of events, we were like we're slipping through cracks in domination. Like we're winning either last second or we're just getting stomped out. So like our domination, it was one of the things like we all brought up afterwards because we always have these talks after events where like we do this wrong, we got to improve this. Like it's not like we don't have like a day break of like trying not to fix issues. We have day breaks of like screaming. So like after we lose events, we're like we got to do this better. Like we made this play wrong in Surge. So I just think all of us, like all 5 of us just agreed, all 6 of us agreed, like S&D and Dom, our S&D is like up and down in events, but our domination has all just been straight down. And you could like, we don't stream our scrims anymore, but like if we did, you guys would see the major improvements we're making in Dom, and we hope like it's gonna come through for the event. Like that's one game mode we were not confident going into the last couple of events.
That's definitely one of those, I think, map threes, talk about search and destroy wins championships. So taking that pivotal map three is also super crucial. So looking forward to playoffs, you guys will get the winner of either New York or Minnesota. And then figuring that you guys are able to take that matchup, which I'm pretty sure most people out there would expect that that was the case, you would eventually have to run a road that goes through in Atlanta in the most immediate round to follow. So is there anything in particular outside of the domination trying to be polished up that you're looking at for either that matchup versus a New York or a Minnesota, or the eventual win versus Atlanta that you're looking forward to?
I mean, I think with the New York team, if they obviously they have to win their series, but if they do win their series, I think we want to try to widen our map pool because we've been playing the same maps against them the last 4 times, and we've won 2 and they've won 2. So obviously widening our map pool would be great. It'd be huge for us, and I think it's just consistency. Like I said, like we got to keep the S&Ds at the same rate. Our hard point, I can't remember if our hard point was good last event or not. We played 3 matches. Never mind. We just gotta be more consistent. And like another thing we talked about were just obviously comms, because it's so hard. Like even like if it's online and scrims, like online events to scrims, it's so hard to keep that same like intensity is matches.
Sure.
So
I'm sure, yeah.
So like when we play COD on scrims, we're like a 60-70%. When we go into matches, 120. And everyone just after we play a map, we're like, yo, we gotta calm down here and here. Like it's so hard to do that because our scrim's 60 and we're doubling that. Like we're going so much, just we're going hard during those matches, and it's like we're not used to that. So we're all just like sitting there complaining, like, oh, we didn't say this, or when we actually did say it, but we're blocking up the comm. So it's so hard. Like it's hard to fix that, especially like for any COD team. But like you just got like it's something to work on all year. Like, and you could always improve comms no matter what.
100% the case. Well, that's all I have for you, my man. Thanks so much for taking the time and stopping by. Any final thoughts you want to leave for the fans of the Huntsmen that are out there tuning in?
Just love you guys. I mean, I know it's been a hard year, but we're here now. Let's go.
Indeed the case. I mean, hey, top 4 seed, not bad at all. Best of luck, Alec. Thanks so much for taking the time, man.
Thank you.
Big shout out to Arcitys for joining me on the interview. A lot of interesting insights. I think just even dating back to that gunless Pristini swap, hearing about all the things that were going on behind the scenes. I think that's something that we don't necessarily get a true look at. And honestly, we don't need to. We shouldn't be getting a true look at those kind of things. The only time you ever hear about things behind the scenes is when things are going bad. So not to sit there and say that the Chicago Huntsmen are concerned about what they have going forward, but it's good to see that they're trying to tune things up and make sure that they are practicing at the same speed and passion and energy level that they would bring to a playoff match coming up. Coming forward, though, again, I expect them to get past either New York or Minnesota, whoever they play first. I think the matchup versus Atlanta will be a really good one, but I would not expect to see Chicago, even if they lose, fall outside of the top 3. This is a team that's going to bring a lot of experience, a lot of veteranship, and a lot of energy to try to make a run for that grand championship, the first championship of the Call of Duty League. That's going to do it for this one. Again, if you've missed some of the videos that we've done so far in the playoff picture, make sure you go back, take a look at the playlist that's attached to this video. Otherwise, if you want to get more information on when my videos do pop up, make sure you not only subscribe, but also ring the notification bell to know when these videos do go live. Till the next one, though, friends, hope you enjoyed it and hope you keep holding it down. Later. Bye-bye.